way before you got into radio. What is your earliest memory of listening to the radio?
That's a good question. Because I never thought I'd end up here, but I did remember going to concerts as a teenager. I love going to concerts, and I was in Cleveland at a World Series of Rock, and Betty Corban from WMMS was up on stage, and she was bringing the band on. I forget what band it was, but it was probably like Ted Nugent, Aerosmith, that one. And I was like, that's pretty cool, because you can do rock and roll, still love going to concerts and stuff like that, and then have a job in it. So
Yeah.
that was kind of my first. I used to listen to CKLW too, like everybody did around this area, and I would listen for hours to try to request a song. And now all of that is coming at me. People calling to request songs. It's weird how it's full circle, but.
You mentioned one of my next question was, who were you listening to? You mentioned CKLW. Do you remember some of the personalities? Because CKLW is very interesting because and your background is in news, but as popular as it was because of Rosalie and the songs being played,
yeah.
It was also garnering listeners to an aspect of radio that other stations, it was a tune out, and that's 2020 News. It was like a bionic station.
Yeah.
But as far as personalities, do you remember people that you liked listening to, even if it wasn't
Byron
CK?
McGregor. I mean, the dude was legend. I was, before I actually started in radio, I worked at a bank for a while, and remember driving in listening to CKLW because it was in the dead zone of Ohio, and so not much came in. And so I'd listen to, CKLW and listen to Byron McGregor, 2020 News. If it bleeds, it leads. I know that wasn't his. He didn't make that famous, but that was kind of his deal. And it was such a mystery what was going on up here in Detroit. But I listened to that.
I always like to say that Byron McGregor and the other guys in the 2020 newsroom made Detroit sound like Gotham City.
No, it was true. It's true. And when I was in college, though, then I got to see I got the flip side of it. I listened to Riff. Back in the day, it was Jim and George. George Bear and Jim Johnson. And, they had that like parrot sidekick that they did, which is just one of, I think, George Bear's voices. And I was just like, what the hell is all this stuff? It's so, it's kind of weird. I hadn't really, as a kid, a lot of people start out when they're like 14. Jay Towers down the hallway was like, I started radio when I was 15, but it was still a mystery to me. When I went to college, I wasn't sure at Bowling Green. I wasn't sure that I'd actually do this, and then all of a sudden, there I am.